Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Milwaukee PBS special, Still a Dreamer. I'm your host, Celina De León, and today we are going to explore what the DREAM Act and DACA is. We'll then shed light on the resources available to dreamers and DACA recipients while showing testimonies from recipients right here in the city of Milwaukee. I'm sure by now you've become familiar with this acronym, but what exactly is DACA? It stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It's a program that allows current students, graduates, and honorable discharge members from the military to obtain a driver's license and a work visa. Applicants must complete a 7-page application with legal documents proving that they meet the requirements, along with a processing fee of $495. Now, the term dreamers is commonly known as people who were brought to the country at an early age without documentation and have been educated by U.S. school systems. Now, the program DACA is commonly used by dreamers and just differs from people being detained. It does not give legal status to the dreamers. It needs to be reviewed every 2 years along with a renewal fee. As a result, said dreamers can go on living in the country and do almost anything a normal citizen would. So stick around because we'll hear some heartwarming stories from dreamers, legal advice for said dreamers, and where they seek medical treatment. All this and more coming up on today's episode of Still a Dreamer. Welcome back, everyone. Joining us here in the studio today is Han Nguyen, a UW Milwaukee student with a major in nursing, here to tell us about her experience as an international student. Han, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about yourself first. How did you get to UWM? Why did you choose it?
So I started to go to high school in America when I was 14. And after I finished high school, I was like considering what school I should be going. And then my cousin, she went to UWM and now getting her PhD at UWM. So she encouraged me to go to UWM because she's going to help me in about science because she's majoring also in biochemistry. So I have a help from her, so that's why I picked UWM.
Well, excellent. And so I understand. So the show is about DACA. And international students as a whole, anyone can really sign up, but it's stigmatized or stereotypically known that DACA is primarily used by Latinos. And so do you see any differences between your experiences and the people that you've met using DACA?
So when I was in high school, I saw some like Latinos friend, they also use like DACA before, but for me it's a little bit different because I am an international student like from other country paying school to come here. So our process is a little bit different. So for me, I have to using a document called F1, and we have to have like an interview with the immigration to prove that we having enough of money and we are going here just to go to school and not doing anything outside of school. So it's a little, and then we have like a limit of time to being here also. Like for every year I have to go home for summer and to renew my documentation.
Right, and so can you explain, there's also the J1, if I'm not mistaken, so can you explain the difference between the two?
Yes, so the J1 is for exchange students, so it's a little bit different that you are going another country for exchange about the culture or about education. But for F1 is that you are going to school like normal American student, but after you are done with school, you have to go home.
So switching gears a little bit, how do you feel overall about a general sense of DACA being attempted to be rescinded by the Trump administration? This could have an impact on not just Latino students, but all international students in general. So how does that make you feel, the opportunities that could possibly be essentially lost here in the United States?
Yeah, so like for F1, we have a lot of like limit opportunities. We don't have a chance to go to work. We don't have a chance to having a lot of scholarship like the American, because we already proved that we can pay for school, and then we don't have a lot of experience to work with a lot of like outside of like Americans, people like internship or any things that relate about paying or about financials that you cannot really relate it. And it's really hard like for us to like I feel like we don't have a really big community of international students in Milwaukee, so sometimes it's really hard for us to like being apart with people here.
Now you said you've met a few people, or maybe you have some friends that are under the DACA documentation, and so how do you really see a big difference between what you go through and what they go through then?
Yeah, so I think one of my friends, she's now at St. Louis University, and then she's also pursuing herself in medical field, and I've heard that they talk about like DACA to have like full scholarship and things like that, but I really not have a big knowledge about DACA at all.
Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for coming in this afternoon, sharing your experience with us. Now we'll hear some testimonies from other dreamers and how DACA has changed their lives. Take a look.
It's helpful that we have choices, you know, all these people, including me, you know, because we get to choose a job, we get to go to school now. So when Obama announced it, you know, it reignited the flame of hope. And to the people that are opposed to it and want to get rid of it, I don't see why. It makes absolutely no sense. We pay our taxes. You know, the people that got it are not criminals. You may think that we're criminals because we're here, but we're here to better our lives just like you and the rest of us. I don't see why people why and how people can be so hateful. I have a daughter, I'm a husband. There's people out there that have plenty of kids. They're struggling every day just to live life here, and yeah, I mean, just be kind. I don't see why people would want to get rid of it. You know, I'm grateful that I'm here in the country, but I didn't choose to be here. I was brought here at a very young age. You know, my parents brought us here so they can better our lives and their lives. So to those people I say, there's too much hate in this world. Why be a part of it when you can show love and affection to one another? That's what I have to say, you know. Yeah, don't think that we're here to do wrong when we're just here to do good, just like everybody else. I don't like to think, oh, I'm gonna get detained, or you know, I'm not gonna be there for her. I like to think, you know, down the road, I'm gonna be there for the first day of school. I'm gonna take her, you know, I'm gonna be there for her homework, and you know, just help her along the way. You know, and the rest of my kids too. You know, I don't know. That's hard, but I don't know. I can't live with that fear. You know, what's the point? You know, fear is a good thing though, but I'm just doing me. You know, that's all I can do, and I'm not afraid of standing up for my belief and the thousands and thousands and millions of other, you know, illegal immigrants.
It's tough. Like, I really feel for them because right now the conversation is around DACA and around, you know, 750,000 kids. The President Trump is now saying around 1.5 million people could qualify for his program. But what about the 11 million people? Like, there's still a ton of people who won't qualify for any of these programs. And I think the American people have to realize that they are the people willing to do the jobs. When they talk about illegals stealing jobs from them, or undocumented people stealing jobs from them, these are jobs that no one wants to do. You know, we've seen it even here in Wisconsin. There's a news story not that long ago on Univision. Farmers who depend on these workers to get the farm going, you know, to milk the cows and get everything done. A lot of these jobs are done by people who are undocumented. So if we take away all those people, a lot of different industries would suffer. And that was seen here in Wisconsin the day that we went. It was like no one went to work, no one went to school. A day without immigrants. I think a lot of different communities felt that. So when you are against, you know, illegal or undocumented immigrants, and I don't think anyone wants people to come here undocumented. We aren't for that. If there was an easier way, if there was programs that allowed you to come here and work legally, we would all be for that. But the reality is that there's already 11 million people here. So what do you do with them? And just treating them poorly is not going to help the situation.
Truly inspiring stories there. As you can see, going through that application process can definitely take a toll on the body and the mind. Giving us more insight now is Maria Miramontes, a health navigator at CORE El Centro, which is in Walker's Point right here in Milwaukee. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about your position and what you do at CORE?
As a health navigator at CORE, my responsibility is check with new clients or clients who are established clients with us and find out more about what the needs they have. We find out that not just the stress is causing issues, health issues, but also we are well connected in the community. So if the person needs extra resources, we were able to refer those. You can name like legal resources, lawyers, or any other type of need they might have.
Right, and so since June of 2012, that's when DACA was founded and enacted.
Exactly.
Did you see a dramatic rise at all in undocumented clients?
Well, we see both phases. We provide a volunteer program, and through the volunteer program, a lot of students start coming, and many of them, those are DACA students. So we know how the situation right now. So we feel a struggle emotionally because we know the quality of people they are. So it is frustrating sometimes. So we try to give them the most we can, not just about the resources we provide, but also the tools they might need it in the future. Doesn't matter if the government or the law is gonna allow them to stay or not, but as a humans, having the knowledge, the power with them, they can do whatever they can to get your goals, what they want it to be. No matter what it is here, another part of the country, and their own countries, but they hope they can stay.
Now, thank you, that's very powerful. And we were talking before, and you said this issue hits home.
Yes.
How does this hit home?
In a very dramatic numbers, we see the whole family. It's not just the student case, but the whole family, the parents, the youngest brothers, the oldest brothers. It is creating a trauma, what they're gonna do if they get divided, or how the family is gonna be separate. So they are more questions than answers. What we CORE is doing is holding the space. Whatever comes out each day, we try to help them in different ways. At least to provide a safe space, safe environment. If they feel that a movement class is gonna help them to work with the stress level, they are welcome to try. If they need to search with psychologists or therapists, we were able to provide that resource for them too.
And so how does someone start that process with CORE? How does one go about going there and everything?
Since we provide a natural alternatives, it's important to us to find out exactly what the needs are. If it is more emotional or physical or chronic condition. And from there we try to match, at least as part of my job, try to match what the needs are and what we have to provide. If it is into the CORE, or if it is into the clinic, or if it is into the healing center. Those are other two organizations inside of the organization that might be able to support us.
And now, so I'm assuming, is CORE flexible with lower income families?
It is. We provide this sliding scale fee program. They need to provide a proof of income. And I always said, price is negotiable. We are open to provide. We understand life is not always the same. There are changes, and we are there to support. We come with a very generous volunteers, so they feel the passion, and we are there to hold the community practically.
Awesome. So the fear of being detained is already overwhelming. Have you seen clients come in with more stress-related problems?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Especially now when the police stop them for just crossing a stop sign, and the families, they don't know what to do. So we were able to bring some lawyers and give us an ideas how we can support the people, providing the right information or providing the right resource where they can go just in case and be prepared.
Well, excellent. I want to thank you so much for coming in this afternoon. We are a little short on time. Thank you for sharing your perspective and your experiences with us
Thank
as
you for
well.
having me.
Up next, we'll hear from one dreamer that shares his story and how his status doesn't define who he is and doesn't hold him back from his full potential. Here's Josue Devalos and his journey.
We ask ourselves, all we do is pay taxes, we report to the community. I work, I attend school. Why are we being singled out if all we do is report to people? Report to everybody, report to this nation.
That's right.
We're just like Paul Ryan himself. His roots are Irish, they're immigrants,
That's
just
right.
like I am. It doesn't separate me and him. And so, I'm here today trying to push for a Clean Dream Act because I stand here for everyone else who's at home, who's watching me live and asking what to do with their lives, what better to do with their lives. I want to be an example and inspiration for every single one person. And I'm not just talking about dreamers and immigrants, I'm talking about also citizens, because citizens and I, like I said, I'm an American.
I work from 3 in the morning to around 12, and then out of all that money that I make, I pay for my own schooling. I don't receive any help. I have to commute to school from Racine to Milwaukee, and my classes are all at night. So they start at 6, a couple of them start at 5, and all of them end at 9 or 10. So driving back, I make it home like at 11. So once 11, and I work in Oak Creek, which is like a 25-minute drive. Me and my older brother, we're really into weightlifting. Actually, we're part of a team. We're part of Team Relentless, and it's a lot of applicants for that team, and it's a pretty big deal that we're inside that team. And though I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of getting my feet wet, competing here and there. I've only done one powerlifting competition where I didn't place. My brother is, on the other hand, he's already a champion. He is in the state of Indiana, I believe, for his weight division. He has the heaviest deadlift. He left there with a record, so that says a lot for him. And actually, my first competition there, he participated along, but he competed as well. So he was trying to coach me, but since we both have the same last names, it was always, he was up first and I was up second. He was just giving me little quick pointers, and then he said, all right, let me borrow the belt, the back belt. And I didn't have much hands-on coaching, but he took first place for deadlift, and he's very, very inspiring figure for me. Alex, there's no words that do him justice to describe him towards me. It's funny because I always remember the very first moment I met him. He was just opening up Mount Sinai gym. We were moving equipment into the gym. He's not only just a team member, he's someone I consider really close to myself. He calls me, I call him, we can count on each other, and it always stays that way to this day, despite time that passes on. He's always there. Well, not just as far as now beyond training at the gym or anything else. You know, it's just personal issues as well, and that's how you develop a family, and I consider him family. She was my first love. As a young kid, yeah, I have hearing problems. Though I'm wearing contacts right now, I have eyesight problems as well. I need glasses and I need hearing aids, and I remember when I was young, I would get picked on a lot because I wore these big hearing aids to school. And like I said, a lot of things don't impact you back when you're a kid as they do right now. Hearing aids were expensive, and despite us going through hard times, they did everything they could so I can get hearing aids. And because I was getting picked on at school, I would not wear them. And all they really wanted for me was to hear well so I can do well in class. And here I was taking off my hearing aids, putting them in my pocket just so I would, for what? Just so I could fit in, so I couldn't get picked on. All she did was care for me, and my dad as well. And nowadays, she still tells me, say, hey, make sure you're wearing your glasses. Hey, make sure you take your contact lenses off. Nobody's gonna love you as much as your mom does. And that's what she showed me.
He's a straight shooter. He's one of those individuals you talk about something with, and you know, if he says he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it, you know. He's volunteered over here multiple times to help us move stuff and build stuff. He would give his shirt off his back. You know what I mean? That's just he has a good soul. He has a good heart. Just a great, genuine person. You know, that doesn't know anything else. This is, you know, just like me, just like you. This is all we know. This is our country. You know, he doesn't have a record. He's not a bad guy. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. You know, he's in here with me at least 5 days a week. You know, pumping iron and focused on goals and emerging as you know what I mean, a good role model. He's a definite asset to our community, this facility, our team, everything all the way around. You know, that's who he is, and I'm sure there's many like him. His brother is the same way. You know, it's offensive when you hear people say such negative things about them, like they're bad people, or you know, they're not. You know, I mean, you really need to get to know some of them before you judge. You know, a lot of people are casting stones before they even meet or greet.
Truly an inspiring story of how one man can go to school, work 2 jobs, be a part of a strong team, all while being a role model. Dreamers dream big, and having someone to help them through their journey is needed. Speaking of gaining that help, joining us now is managing attorney Melissa Soborowski and Daniel, her case manager, who is also a DACA recipient, and they are based out of West Dallas, correct?
That's correct.
All right, well, excellent. Thank you guys so much for being here this afternoon.
Thank you for
having us. Can you
us.
tell us a little bit about Soborowski immigration law and where that started and what the purpose of everything is behind that firm?
Sure. We're exclusively an immigration practice. Since I can remember, I've always wanted to be an immigration attorney. I grew up in the East LA area. It's always been a passion of mine, so I'm fairly lucky that I get to do that in my practice.
What drew you to Milwaukee?
I went to law school at Marquette.
Awesome. And that obviously it went well for you, and so then when did you start Soborowski Immigration Law then?
We've been open for just short of 2 years.
Just short of 2 years. And so then, Daniel, you're a case manager. How long have you been with Soborowski Immigration Law?
About 4 months now, I believe.
Tell us your journey. How did you get to where you are today?
So I worked with Voces de la Frontera, a nonprofit organization, and that's where I met Melissa Soborowski. She helped us in various legal clinics and citizenship forums that I was working with, organizing DACA renewals, citizenship clinics to helping residents become citizens and help them through that journey. So that's how I was able to meet Melissa and then moved on to her firm.
That's excellent. Yeah. And so you yourself are a DACA recipient.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be a DACA recipient? What does it mean, you know, since with all the conflict that's been going on politically, you know, the Trump administration is trying to, you know, rescind or kill DACA, and so how does that make you feel? It must hit home for you in some way.
Yeah, well, so I didn't know I was undocumented until it was around 8th, 7th grade, where I was invited to a school trip, and unfortunately, due to lack of documentation, and it was the fear of my parents as well, that, you know, of having me in a different state and without that documentation was quite scary for them. And that's when they let me know. I was like, telling me, you're different from from the rest of your classmates. You don't have such status. And from that moment on, it really didn't stop me from achieving my goals or from dreaming.
Absolutely. Obviously, it hasn't stopped you from achieving your goals.
Yeah.
So good for you. No, absolutely excellent. And so how has it been, you know, recently then? I mean, how has the job itself been going?
Well, I mean, it's with the firm, we've been having a steady flow of clients, and part of it is the fear that some clients are having, that some immigrant families are having of this president in the seat. Just itself, it's quite scary for myself, and I'm imagining students and other families that don't have DACA, that don't have that protection from deportation, and it's a scary time, and we don't know what's going to happen. We're in a state where we're just sitting and watching the news and politicians fighting back and forth, and nothing's being done, and no actions are being taken, and it's scary because it's our lives in the line. It's our dreams. It's our lives. Yeah.
Okay. And that's so. In total, how have you been able to? Have you seen a big change in recent months then, since working as a case manager? It's obviously opened your eyes even more, different perspectives, things like that, and just real briefly as well. So how have things changed?
Well, before working at Sobralski, I was a coordinator for the Caminos Legal Clinic at Voces de la Frontera, and through the election process, we've had a major uprising of students who wanted to become citizens, and that was quite a big thing that a lot of residents, a lot of DACA recipients were scared of, and numbers went up where we're holding big legal clinics, and from Sobralski Immigration, it's been quite big numbers of clients that we've received and been helping through the process, which can be complicated sometimes.
Right, and that's excellent. And so, how can one, real quick, how can one get started with the process at Sobralski Immigration Law? How can one get started?
Sure. We're really encouraging two things. First, that if your DACA expires in the next year, that you renew now. There are two recent federal court decisions that are making that available, but it's not clear how long that door will be open. And then next, we're really encouraging folks to speak with an immigration attorney, no matter what their status is, but in particular if you have DACA, just to see if there's another option that can keep people here, give them some peace of mind.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for coming in this afternoon and sharing with us your personal experiences and opening up about being a DACA recipient and everything. Good luck to both of you. And that is all the time we have for now. I want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon here on Milwaukee PBS and watching Still a Dreamer. Once again, I'm Luis De León. Stay informed and have a great afternoon.